Do you know I was in a movie with Idris Elba?
No, you weren't.
I swear on my life.
Text Gregor the other day saying, I hope everything goes well. Have a great World Cup. He said, thanks, Hoggy. Hope you're well. Are you coming out to France at all? I said, yes, I'm coming to Marseille. I'm going to be there for the opening game. I'll bring my boots just in case. No reply.
Hello, welcome to the official Rugby World Cup podcast brought to you by Asahi Super Dry, the official beer of the Rugby World Cup. I'm Gethin Jones, and as I speak to you, we are smack bang in the middle of the first weekend of matches here in France. So plenty to reflect on, loads to look forward to in the company of three legends of the game of rugby. We always have a brilliant lineup. Today is no different. We say hello to Argentina and to Juan Manuel Leguizamon. It's lovely to have you on the podcast.
Thank you, my friend.
Can we call you Leggy?
Leggy, you can call me Leggy. Juan.
Leggy is fine.
Leguizamon, Juan Manuel. So many options. I'm here. Thank
Leggy
you.
has been to 4 World Cups. We look forward to talking to you about those. Stuart Hogg is here, Scotland's all-time top try scorer. Listen, I'm delighted you're on the pod, but I'm also absolutely furious you're not lining up against Africa a bit later on today, like lots of Scottish fans and world rugby fans around the world. We'll talk about that in a bit. Lovely to see you.
Thank you, Giff.
Done your prep, haven't you? Brought your notes and everything for this.
You gotta be professional, don't you?
You think this is like a professional podcast. You have no idea what's coming.
Well, you're setting the tone, mate, so it's all on you.
Hey, before we start though, gents, we have a story of love. Ugo Monye came to France for a rugby, but it turns out last night he fell in love with drop goals.
Oh my gosh.
Congratulations. I hope you're very happy together.
How good. George Ford, 27 points, 3 drop goals in the first half. Unbelievable. I reckon it's probably one of the greatest individual performances we've seen from an England player in quite a while. That's not be getting carried away. I'd love to know what you guys think, but as an individual, you lose a man after 2.5 minutes, and for your fly half, your quarterback to step up in the way he did, it was impressive, no?
Are you asking Leggy to go straight in with being happy for England? I mean, this man, look at him. He's a broken man this morning.
I was looking more in Hoggy's direction whilst my right eye was looking at Leggy. It was a good individual performance, wasn't it?
It was absolutely incredible. I think the drop goal for me, you never normally see it nowadays, do you?
You're quite fond of a drop goal, especially from distance.
That's because I just got too tired to run about. I've hit 2 in my career. 2 big ones in my career, but I spent a lot of time practicing them.
Feels like you got carried away at some point. So I think once I was watching you for Exeter, and you went like it was your own 22. I think you went for one.
I probably did do that, and that's why I never played for the rest of the season. But yeah, no, like it's weird. It's all on the ball. You get a nice ball that you can strike. I know it sounds bloody stupid what I'm saying, but you get a nice rugby ball and you can drop.
Is this So this is a nice rugby ball. So
yeah, these are good. You can
I'm glad
them.
you mentioned that, because I was pitchside there yesterday for the game, and I got hold of one of the official match balls, and they feel a bit. I know it sounds silly, but the shape of rugby ball is the shape of rugby ball, but they're a little bit wider, so the belly of the ball is a bit fatter. So for a kicker, you've got more surface area to be able to kick and connect. And is that the art of being able to make the ball travel a bit further and get a better accuracy? Is that fair?
Yeah, you could say that. I think, as you say, it sounds stupid when you talk about rugby ball. Everybody looks at it and goes, they must be all the exact same. But you need a ball that's been kicked in. So genuinely, it sounds bloody stupid, but you'll get a new ball at the start of the week for a test match, and you practice with it all week, and you kick the leather off it, and then by the time it comes to the weekend, it's ready to go. If you get a fresh ball, it's absolutely horrific. I remember Greg Laidlaw got a fresh ball in a game once, and he asked their kit man to go get a bucket of hot water. So the bucket of hot water, you stick the ball in it, and anytime they came to a conversion or a penalty, whoever brought his kicking team brought a warm ball. Used to travel a little bit further. So.
Warm ball.
Yeah, there you go.
Argentina, like you sat here this morning, Leggy. You've brought some weird tea with you. You're sipping it out of a metal straw. Is that how are you feeling this morning? Because am I allowed to say that Argentina just didn't seem to fire a shot last night.
No, 100% agree with that. I don't know what happened. I don't know what they prepared in the last 3 weeks to play that game.
3 weeks, I mean...
3 weeks, I mean, in the camp.
Yeah, the camp is,
in the camp
months,
in Portugal and everything.
Yeah.
I think it was a masterclass from England for the defense going up hard, kicking the strategy, the fullback going for every ball, for playing every single ball the same way. So I think we need to learn from that.
I was disappointed by Argentina because when you said there's a lot of inexperience, but Juan Montoya, Emiliano Buffelli, who scored 25 points against England at the autumn in Twickenham. I thought there's enough quality and know-how. Lavanini, Pablo Matera, Kremer. I thought one of you, someone, take a grip of this game, hit pause, regroup, and start firing some shots. And you didn't fire a shot. 13 handling errors, 12 penalties, a scrum that looked like it was wilting. The line-out wasn't perfect. I was thinking...
Good stats. What he was doing commentary last night.
It was just a poor. It was just a poor reflection of Argentina. And in these big games, you want to see the best of Team A against the best of Team B, and then a team wins. And England were great, but Argentina were well below par for me.
Oh yes.
Anytime we've ever played against the Argentinians, they are built on emotion, massively built on emotion. And I think, you talked about the 12 penalties you give away. So England are a man down, and all they want is to slow things up. It's in their DNA at the minute. They want to slow things up. And if you're giving away 12 penalties and George Ford just keeps that scoreboard ticking over, it is like a sucker punch to the Argentinians. And when you're talking about the lack of energy and things like that, it knocks the life out of you when things aren't going well. And it becomes incredibly frustrating, and it's just like a ticking time bomb. When's this going to end? And Argentina almost got to the stage. It was like they just couldn't do anything to get back into the game. And I just found it quite frustrating to watch at times as well, because we've seen them at their best. They're a world class side when they get things right, but they almost played into England's hands last night. And when England are a man down and they just want to keep that scoreboard ticking over. The Argentinians just played right into the.
You got Wales Fiji a bit later. A man called Botico on the bench for Fiji could come on as a 7 or as a 12. Is Tuilagi now a bona fide 7 as well after losing Tom Curry to that red card? He was scrimmaging, wasn't he, in defence.
It was the best defensive game I've seen from Manu in years. It's obvious the threat of Manu. I think at his best, he's one of the best power athletes in world rugby. It's very difficult to stop. It creates a great sense of momentum. I think there's few players in the world where there is dangers with or without the ball.
Yeah.
If Manu's there and he's on the gain line, whether he has the ball or not, you have to sit and stop for him, because you can't give him a soft shoulder. You give him a soft shoulder, he's going to break the gain line, create momentum. But Manu yesterday, and you think of also Courtney Laws and Ben Earl, 2 men in the back row, and you'll appreciate this, having to do the job of 3 men, I thought was tremendous. But Manu defensively, the aggression, the intensity, and I thought that the repeated energy and effort to get up, get off the line, and just try and suffocate and steal Argentina's energy.
Exactly
Hoggy, once again, you know what it's like to play against Argentina, and I think you have to almost break them emotionally before you break the game. And they took away their energy,
and they did it.
And I thought that was it. Was that fair?
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that, because we are talking about Ford, but I think every player yesterday from England did a fantastic job, like putting pressure, the 15, Ford kicking every single time the same way. Number 9 was great. And then the back row as well, Los, Els. I think they nailed it, and it was fantastic to watch.
So, a genuine question: what's it like when you know you've made a bad tackle, foul play, a mistake, call it whatever you want, and you've got that long walk off the pitch, knowing that this could change the course of the game.
Can I just add in there, but maybe waiting as well in the incident with Tom Curry, he goes into the huddle and it's being reviewed.
Oof.
Yeah, what's the mindset?
Well, on my one, I got a yellow card first.
Yeah.
And then the Welsh just kept replaying it on the big screen, and the ref
My
decides
mates-
to have a look up.
My mates do that. They do the video. I'm like, play it again.
And then so I'm sitting on the bench going, I think I've got away with that, actually. And then all of a sudden he starts walking towards me and whistles and points for me to come back on and brands the red card. So I thought, I've got away with this. Then came back on. Red card was shown, and then the old long walk down the tunnel.
What's it like?
Oh, it's horrific. Absolutely horrific. It was a good red card to me.
A good red card.
It was worthy of a red, yeah. I just remember Mum and Dad, they got up about 10 minutes after that, walked out the stadium and started driving home.
Really?
They'd had enough.
And is it that? I mean, thinking of Tom Curry, you saw his reaction when he was on the sideline, wasn't he? When he got the news that it was a red.
Yeah, went to bunker.
Yeah, and then he sort of slapped his arm down, didn't he? And thought, that's it. What's that like for a player? Is you feel like you're letting your teammates?
Oh yes,
down?
yes. I've been there a few times as well. But what can I say? Yeah, it's hard. But it's the way it is, huh?
You're playing on the edge.
And the good thing is, your mates did, for example, for Curry yesterday, your team does that, and they multiply them on the pitch and do that game, that performance. That's a good thing about rugby. Like you going off and your mates do the job, and of course it's hard for this guy, but it's the way it is. Yeah, I think it wasn't fair, the red card.
I think the evolution of the red card has changed a little bit in rugby. If we to go back 10, 15 years ago...
Stewart's was definitely a red.
As you said, it was a good red card. But red card is there to penalise foul play. Foul play 10, 15 years ago was really obvious. We're talking a punch, a stamp, a kick or something like that. Now the red card, if I can use the word... Whilst it is foul play, head-on-head, we understand play welfare is absolute paramount. It does penalise what I would consider mistakes. We've seen a number of red cards across the summer. This is the first red card of this Rugby World Cup. But Tom Curry hasn't wanted to tackle anyone with his head. That's just bad tackle technique. And he's one of the best tacklers in world rugby. But he's just got his timing wrong. And so I totally understand the debate around maybe it should have been a yellow, but according to the law, that's just a red card.
Yeah.
There is no debate around it. But it's just a mistake. You rarely see the intent of players, especially at this level, trying to do something so malicious. And I think we need to start looking at them as slightly mistimed, slightly too high. They are genuine mistakes with massive consequences. And Tom Curry's one yesterday, it was a mistake. You've got a player dropping into a populated area. He gets it wrong. His head almost whiplashes back mate's contact, but according to the law,
I agree.
It's just a little bit of information for those listening and watching there. The sun has come out of Marseille. Unfortunately, it's just found Stuart Hogg, who's probably going to be affected the most by the sun. Would you like some sun cream? Or you?
The old ginger skin doesn't cope well in the sun,
doing
mate.
all right? Looking great, by the way. You do look good at the moment.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.
Let's talk about England's attack. First of all, Farrell. So, hang on. So, England win. They win well. George Ford, absolutely world class. Does Farrell come back in now when he's available? Stuart Hogg.
Not after that performance last night.
Not even at 12?
Well, that's the thing. I think he'll play somewhere. And I think the fact they've not brought Henry Slade out to the World Cup, to me, shows that they're going to put Farrell at 12.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, no, I see.
It's a weird one. Like, Farrell, he has to play. Farrell has to play. I think for me, is an absolute outstanding rugby player, a great leader, and he'll have a massive impact both on and off the field with that England squad. So, does he come in at 12? Do they shove Tuilagi out one? I generally don't know, but they've got an embarrassment at Riches there that they can do what they want.
I was going to ask Ugo, but he's busy tucking into
have a go on that. That's
Leguizamon
nice.
Tea. Is it nice? Leguizamon bought is it like a herbal tea?
Yeah, herbal tea.
Herbal tea.
This is the key to looking absolutely tremendous.
But I couldn't agree more with that. I don't think Ford's performance actually changed a huge amount in terms of selection. I think he's a wonderful player, perhaps one that's been underappreciated a little bit. So it was actually really nice for Fordy to have that moment, to show his quality. And anyone that knows George Ford, played against him, trained, played with him, he's as good as having a coach on the pitch. So when you're down to 14 men, you effectively have a player coach on the pitch. You get that sense of calm, security, and player management. Like Leggy, you know what it's like as a forward. When you're having to double up your efforts, you need your 10 to keep the ball in front of you, put in the right positions and manage your legs. And that's what Fordy did. And then the 3 sucker punches of drop goal, drop goal, drop goal. Not only were they putting scoreboard pressure on Argentina, but I thought they were also taking the energy out, because they were like, hang on, where did that come from?
You mentioned Marcus Smith coming on there at 15 there. They do have some creative options at the moment. Freddie Stewart, it would be wrong not to ask you about him as a fellow fullback, Stewart. Like, what he does brilliantly, doesn't he? Stewart. And then there's been lots said about England's creativity. What does he bring other than that to the England side?
You talked about the kicking threat. So George Ford's sticking spiral bombs up for fun. There's nobody better to chase it than Freddie Stewart. Like, he's 7 foot tall. He's absolutely tremendous in the air.
Fact.
And
Fact.
Mate, fact. But he'll be up there with the world's best in the air. And it is a massive threat. Like, I remember for years playing against him, like, we were thinking our attacking kicking game has to be spot on, because anything you put in the air, you're going to have to make a massive collision, or he's just going to come up with it. So it's like, how do you try and work your way around it? Do you put it on the floor? Do you try and get it in behind him? But he is absolute quality. Like, even bringing back the ball from counter attack, he sticks up for himself. Like, it is a massive, massive threat of his. And then you bring on a player like Marcus Smith, who's let's just kick the ball and see what he's going to do now. He's got so much talent, it's incredible, that you're thinking, right, well, do we put it up in there against him? He's not a massive guy, but punches well above his weight.
He's got footwork like you.
Yeah.
He's hard.
He can step up both feet, so he's a little bit better than I was. But
what? You didn't even know which direction you were going sometimes. You were that good.
Yeah, but you step thinking you're going off your left foot and you end up falling over your right foot, so it wasn't exactly
I've seen you go doing that a few times as well.
Couple of times, couple dozen times.
Before we move on to the opening weekend, I'm sort of going to go on a little bit. You've both done World Cup campaigns. These guys now have been training. I don't know. Wales started like 6 months ago. They've been going in and out. Why are you laughing?
Straight out the Six Nations in the World Cup.
They did. I remember them going straight. I remember Georgie North saying, going into camp next week. What? They've been together for a long, long time. I know the rugby on the pitch is the most important thing, but day to day, what's it like, Leggy? What's it like being together with this group for such a long time? How do you keep the morale high, the atmosphere good?
It's a good question. I think that's the main challenge for coaching staffs, and of course from leadership groups in the team.
You have to be a family off the field. You generally do, because you're spending all that time away from your own family with these boys day in, day out. That, for when I was in camp, you played cards, you had a bit of crack over coffee, you done absolutely everything you possibly could, and even in the latter stages when boys were gaming all the time, they're gaming against each other, that your man's sitting in the next room and you can hear them shouting back and forward. But yeah, it has a massive knock-on effect. If you get things right off the field, you tend to have a lot of good things happen on the field.
There's an emphasis there about getting things right, of things sometimes not always gone that way for you in a World Cup campaign, or any sort of campaign with Scotland.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, because if things don't go right when you go day in, day out to try and get a game plan, get a structure that you want in place, and sometimes you're not going to get it right when it comes to the game, and it's how you then get tight again after it, because there has been times that it's been absolutely horrific. And I remember we were beating off Ireland in the first game of the World Cup, and we had about 12 days until our next game. It's like you're twiddling your thumbs going, we just want the next game, and it's a long, long way away. And you're thinking, right, we've got to play against Samoa and get a bonus point win to keep our World Cup hopes alive. And you're constantly like stressed about it all the time. But yeah, no, it's like these things happen. But as long as you remain tight in it, you tend to be.
This is the brilliant thing about a World Cup. So I was fortunate enough to work in the World Cup in Japan 4 years ago.
You did once leave 2 weeks in your calendar free for a call-up, didn't you? You got quite close. Was it 2011?
To 2011.
Yeah.
I did the whole warm-up. I did like 10 weeks of it. Played in a couple of the matches. The worst match that you played in, I don't know if you guys did it, you played possibles against probables. So that is...
Yeah, but don't read into it. Remember the coach used to always say, don't read into the teams.
So
and all of a sudden it is literally the team that's played.
So you got your like 40 players in a squad, and then the coaches want to see how everyone's getting on. And then you look at the team and like, oh gosh, I don't think I'm going because the captain's not on my side and everything else. But
the title kind of gives it away, doesn't it?
Yeah,
the probables and the possibles.
But in Japan, I actually covered the Scotland-Ireland match, and this is the difficulty when you've been an ex-player, then you turn into a broadcaster. And I think you have to keep your journalistic integrity. If a team's good, you have to say they're good, and if they're bad, you have to say they're bad. But we just did Ireland against Scotland, and Ireland were great. Scotland are really poor, and so you've effectively just slagged off Scotland for about 80 minutes. And then we had a debrief after it. Yeah, good game, nice. And then we got a taxi to the hotel, and you're pulling up just as the Scotland team bus are pulling up. So you've just torn apart this team who you're now sharing a hotel with. Like Paul did, all right, lads, they probably just like heard your commentary on the team bus and hate you. But in fairness, I loved staying with the Scotland team for a week, I think it was, because I got back, had a beer at the hotel bar, went to bed. I think it was Ryan Wilson, John Barkley, both texted saying, what are you doing tonight? I said, I'm just going to go to bed. And it's not your tournament, it's theirs. And they're the ones that have put it in, so you crack on. So I went to bed, got a FaceTime from Ryan Wilson. Where are you? I'm in bed. He's like, well, we're in Osaka, come out. I don't know if you remember, and then
I remember.
I ended up leaving my hotel. I left my hotel room after being asleep for about half an hour, went into Osaka and met up with these boys, and we had a really good night.
I bet. Yeah, they're pretty good at that.
It was so much fun. It was so much fun. So you've gone from a place where you've torn apart a team for being inaccurate, being soft, giving away penalties, to having beers with them into the middle of the night within like 2 or 3 hours. It was class, really good
That's
fun.
the beauty of rugby, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there you go. And if you're in a World Cup campaign, like you're saying, it's all about love. So when he used to room with Johnny Gray, I'm sure it would have been, I love you, before going to bed. Who did you room with, by the way?
I used to room with little Greg.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, little Greg was ideal. We used to,
Greg Laidlaw?
We were lights out 9:30.
No, you weren't.
Yes, we were, and we were up at the crack of dawn.
Was he like your dad?
Win the morning, win the day was his motto.
Wow, but that got painful after 6 weeks, didn't it?
Yeah,
Who's the worst roommate you've had?
Sean Lamont.
Why?
He was the he was the one that started the old scare cam, and then Barks took it over.
Oh my gosh, this has actually become quite infamous.
So Barks used to jump out at me from everywhere.
Oh.
And I hated it. Like, he'd be behind the curtains.
Scaring you.
Yeah, he'd be in the...
But you've turned the table on it because
Liam Williams and Gareth Davis, they're obsessed with that.
Yeah, I ended up doing it today.
You've become the poacher turned gamekeeper because you set up and watching the whole last Six Nations just scaring the life out of Duran van der Merwe, a person on the face of it that doesn't look like it'd ever be scared.
Children, like you look at them, you're disappointed in them.
It was amazing. It was amazing, though.
Who's your worst ever roommate? Or person you wouldn't want to share a room with?
Guido Petty.
Oh, okay. He came off the bench last night, yeah.
Yeah, he came off the bench.
Why?
Annoying.
Why?
I am immature, but he's 100 times more. So it's like always singing and dancing, and I don't know. Yeah, I love him, but
kids these days, eh?
There's still love. There's still love, but he's annoying.
Love hate.
Yeah.
It's like you say, it's like families, but families fall out. Opening night of the Rugby World Cup, gents. What a start. Leggy, you've played a bit of rugby in France. Obviously, what did you make of it? It didn't disappoint, did it?
It was the result. I disagree with the result.
How come?
You can't disagree with the result, Leggy.
Yeah.
It's happened.
Yeah, true. But I don't know. I feel like the result wasn't the reflect of the game.
Ooh.
Of course, France did better, but I don't know. I think it's too much.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. I think New Zealand made a lot of mistakes. They lost a few balls, but France did more, and they deserved the win, but not in that way. I don't know. I feel like it was a very tighter game, but yeah. Then how was the difference?
14 points. What was it, 16? 14,
Yeah.
27, 13.
yeah.
Yeah, 14
Yeah,
points.
too much.
No.
No?
Yeah, I think there's been lots said about the game, but just on specifics. I mean, it was a good start from New Zealand, from you two there, back threes. Like, in terms of Taloa, and that's he's a bit of a nightmare, isn't he, to deal with?
If anyone's watched him in Super Rugby, he's so physical, so dynamic, and to score within, 90 seconds?
Yeah.
Like, opening game of the World Cup, you thought, here we go. I mean, pre-match, I thought New Zealand by 5. But at the end of the game, in their last 2 fixtures, they had their largest ever defeat inflicted upon them, South Africa, at Twickenham. And then on Friday night against France, the largest ever defeat at a Rugby World Cup. Like, that is nightmare news for an All Blacks fan. But in terms of the occasion itself, it's one of the best atmospheres I've ever been into.
Yeah.
I was saying it last night, actually. It's the first rugby game where I wasn't entirely watching the game because I was just in awe of what was happening in the stands. The sounds, the vitality, the people just constantly chanted. La Marseillaise had been sang every 3 minutes. It was the best thing I've ever seen. And, you know, I was with Jim Hamilton pitchside before and after the match, and
Oh, so there was a downside.
no, it was great to see it. But sports entertainment, and sat where we were, you've got President Macron sat behind us, you've got Prince Albert from Monaco sat there, you've got Didier Deschamps, the French national football coach, Kylian Mbappe.
Oh, yeah. Just in the crowd, wasn't he? Just loving life.
Just in the crowd. Olivier Giroud as an Arsenal fan and what he did. I mean, honestly, he had so many of the national team there. You got David Beckham in the crowd, Jason Momoa, you got George Russell. It had a real sense
Idris
of
Elba
occasion.
was there, wasn't he?
Big Driss. Like, that.
Do you know him?
Huh?
Did you have a chat with Idris?
Okay.
Does he know his rugby?
Do you know I was in a movie with Idris Elba?
No, you weren't.
I swear on my life.
Stunt double.
No, I swear on my life. Honestly, it was so bizarre. I got this phone call. Hey, Ugo, do you want to do a movie? I was like, well, I'm not an actor, so I wasn't that bothered. And they went, go on, you should do it. We want you to shoot a scene with Idris Elba. I said, okay, if Big Driss is in, I'm in. And the scene was, so he was this sports star falling from grace. He's leaving this black tie dinner. I'm stood outside. And there's a couple of attractive ladies that look and wave. And Idris thinks they're waving to him. And I walk past them, nudge him, because they're not waving at Big Driss. They're waving at me. And I walk past him whilst giving him a nudge, and they just walk off. I swear this is a true story.
I'm not so sure of it. I've never heard this before.
I swear, true story. So I've shot a scene with Big Driss.
Short scene.
Idris
Mate, it
Elba.
was on Instagram, so I'm not believing it.
Yeah, no,
So
honestly.
did he recognise you from that when you saw him in the opening weekend?
When was that?
Yeah, he went up to us like, oh, Martin of Fire, great to see you. You're looking fantastic.
As I mentioned earlier, we speak to you right in the middle of weekend 1 of Rugby World Cup. So we're looking ahead to South Africa, Scotland a bit later on. Stuart, why are you not playing?
'Cause I'm too old and broken.
You're 31
Yeah,
years
but I
of
look
age.
about 61 or
I
50.
thought you do not look.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to be playing. I genuinely would. And I started off the pre-season and just couldn't keep up with the boys. So, selfishly,
What does that
I wanted
look
to
like
go.
when you can't keep up with the boys?
when when Ugs, you'll be able to relate to this. When you can't hit the targets that you want and standards that you want to try and maintain, you know it's time. And I remember the older boys used to say, when you know, you know. And I was in denial of it the whole time. I was like, yeah, I'll be absolutely fine. And then bang, it hits you. And I just got to the point I was physically and also mentally broken with how my body was feeling. And I just thought, I want this team to do the best it possibly can. And a half-fit Stuart Hogg isn't good to anybody. So I thought, yeah, my time is up. Like, everybody asks, do you regret it or how are you feeling? I didn't watch the first couple of games for Scotland in the summer because I just didn't feel I was ready. And then I loved watching the last couple of games. Tonight might be completely different.
Oof.
It might be completely different because, you know, I'm going to the game, I'm massively excited for it. Do I wish I was playing? 100%. I do. And tonight might be a bit difficult, but I'm absolutely buzzing for it. Everybody, like, we're just quietly going about our work. Everybody's written us off in the pool of death. And yes.
You've written you lot off.
Aye?
You've written you lot off.
Mate, first day working with Ugs, and what have I done? I've got the World Cup draw in front of me.
I saw that.
Mate.
You had to write Ireland instead of Scotland.
Mate, it was hellish.
Yeah.
And what am I getting off the boys? I'm asking them, you know, I came to Marseille yesterday, I'm texting a few of the boys, you fancy me up for a coffee? Double blue tick. they ain't interested in me anymore. They ain't interested in me.
That's when you become a pundit.
But I text Gregor the other day saying, you know, I hope everything goes well, have a great World Cup. He said, thanks, Hoggy, hope you're well. Are you coming out to France at all? I said, yes, I'm coming to Marseille. I'm going to be there for the opening game. I'll bring my boots just in case. No reply.
He asked you a question, though. He engaged
He's
in the
angry,
conversation.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a neg.
It's either that or, you know, when you get to the kind of people in their 50s on WhatsApp, you just get a thumbs up and reply.
Yeah.
I was kind of half expected that from the gaffer. But yeah, tonight will be a bit different, but I think it's going to be an absolutely cracking game of rugby. You got two sides, and we talked about this, Ugs, before. If there's a team in World Rugby at the minute that knows their DNA, it's the South Africans. And they are bloody good at it. World champions, reigning world champions. They're going to be there or thereabouts when it comes to the business end as well. But they're going to have to, you know, potentially lick their wounds after a defeat for the Scots tonight.
We should clip this up because of where we are right now. And if people listen to this podcast in the week, we can retweet this with that, you know, they do on Twitter saying that aged well, or maybe it didn't age well, depending on what happens in the game.
My career's either going uphill or downhill as a broadcaster in the space of 2 minutes if this goes pear-shaped.
Me and Ugo were chatting to Philippe Saint-Andre
This
right
is his
here
house.
last week. This is
Third
his third
house,
house in
wasn't it?
Montpellier. Third house in Montpellier. It's very kind of him to let us borrow it again. And he said, did he not, Ugo, that he would be tempted as head coach of Scotland to play his second team against South Africa because, quote, you're probably going to lose 4 or 5 players to injury and you're probably going to lose.
Yeah, that's bold, but look, you can't go with a second string team against South Africa in the opening game of the World Cup because, as we talked about earlier, we played Ireland in the last World Cup first game, and it really sets the tone for how you're going to go for the rest of the tournament. And every single game you want to win.
Of course.
So Gregor would never do that. He would never do that because that's almost accepting defeat before you even go. And I don't understand why he would do that. I genuinely think tonight you're going to have 2 teams that are going to play 2 completely different ways of rugby. South Africa, they'll stick to the DNA, they'll kick the life out the ball, they'll squeeze you defensively, they'll be physical as hell. Scotland are going to have to work around them. They're going to have to try and find ways, little avenues of getting through the South Africans, offloads, keep the ball alive. When you look at South Africa, they are very stop-start. They want the ball to be out of play. They want to take a deep breath and want to keep going and going and going. Whereas, if you look at the time that they play, on average, they've got the longest time for a game to be on because the ball goes out, it comes back in. It's slow, stop-start. Scotland will want to increase the tempo at every opportunity. Quick lineouts, quick throw-ins, quick taps, absolutely everything. Keep the ball alive. Don't give the South Africans a chance to rest. And I think that's when Scotland will come into our own.
I was just thinking about back 3 now. I think Colby against, you know, the opposite side with Juan, Van der Merwe. Who are you more frightened of defending against?
For me, definitely Cheslin Colby. And no disrespect to Duhan van der Merwe, I just think, and I think Duhan van der Merwe is one of the best wingers in the world. He's outstanding. Defenders beaten, meters made, try scored, exceptional. I just think that the threat, I think on the face of it, it's a bit more obvious. Well, he's 6'5", 16, 17 stone. Physically, you just have to be up for the battle. Where Cheslin, whether it's speed, footwork, agility, he can make you look. Both players can make you look incredibly silly, but Cheslin just does it in perhaps a slightly more artistic way. How about you, Hoggy?
Yeah, 100% Cheslin Colby, because I'd rather be run over the top of and blame physics than get stepped in a phone box.
Yeah.
You've watched, I've played against Dewey, I've played against Cheslin Colby. Dewey just runs flat out at you, and he's got the ability to beat you, to go around you, to run over the top of you. But yeah, you just have to blame physics with him.
Is he the one that you would have feared the most ever, or is there someone that's even scarier than him to play against, or would he be up there?
We talked about this the other week, didn't we?
Sorry to make you repeat yourself.
The peak, peak Julian Savea.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, the bus.
Peak Julian Savea. What was it, 52 caps and 49 tries or something at the time. I hated playing against him. I genuinely hated playing against him, because young guy coming through thinking, right, I'm going to try and make a name for myself, and you're 6th cap or whatever, you're playing against Julian Savea. I genuinely didn't think I was going to play rugby again after that day. He was up there with one of the best I've ever played against.
Whilst we're talking about the very best, let's do a quick back row with you, Leggy. So this is not fantasy in the sense that, there's no budget here, but from the 20 teams in the World Cup, who's your best back row?
Back row. I think Idris Elba, number 8. Help me.
Charles Olivon?
Yes, but no.
Anyone from South Africa?
Sia?
Sia?
Kayla Doris?
Josh van der Vlier?
This is actually quite tough.
Yeah,
Ridiculous back rows.
20 teams.
That is quite tough.
Ridiculous back rows.
Which 60 back rows.
Yeah.
What you
into
got,
3
Hoggy?
positions.
As a back row?
Yeah. Go on, and you can pick one each. You got Surveyor.
Ooh.
Finish the back
I'll
row.
have Sia.
You have Khaleesi.
What a talismanic figure.
You've got like a 6 or a 7 maybe.
I'm going for a 7. I'm going Bottier.
Bottier. 12. That's quite decent. We happy with that?
Yeah.
You've got all-round ability. You've got ball players. You've got jacklers. You've got tacklers.
Yeah.
We're going to do back 3 now. You were pretty useless at the back row,
Back
Leggy,
3,
but
yeah.
Get involved if you want.
Yeah, of course. I will.
Ask him who the toughest player he played against.
Who's the
Strongest.
toughest player you ever played against?
Him.
No, it wasn't.
I've
you
been
just
saying-
set me up?
I've been
He
saying
teed
this.
you up there, but he's made you look really silly.
I have been saying this since a long time.
Did you not hear them talking about it earlier
Talking
before
about
coming
the
on?
best back rows. No, I didn't hear them
Yeah,
talking
they were
about best
talking.
back rows in the
He's
world. He
like,
goes,
yeah,
you go.
You big me up and I'll beg you up. That's what they said.
No.
I just
Yeah.
said. Who's
And
the
he
toughest
said,
player-
save it for later.
I said, who's the toughest player you played against? It's just an open-ended question.
Let's do a back 3. The best back 3 at this World Cup. Stuart Hogg would have been in there if he was playing.
Yeah.
But he's decided he's too old at 31. Ridiculous.
You're not going to let this go, are you?
George North is 31. And he's about
Yeah,
to
and
play
he's
his
in,
4th World
he's in
Cup.
about his fucking 7th World Cup now, isn't he? Best back 3 at the World Cup. After Friday night and the past couple of seasons,
Oh, I know.
Ramos. Did you think you didn't think I was going to say Ramos? Did you?
I didn't think you were going to say Ramos. I
thought
think you
you
were
were
going to
gonna
say
Peno.
Peno is quality. He is absolute quality.
Immediately changed his mind.
After the weekend, after that, we could just go with the French back 3 from
Yeah.
from the weekend.
Such a fan of Villiers as well.
Yeah,
Oof.
I'm going as a back 3. I'm going to take Big Duhan. I'm going to take Big Duhan on the left wing. I'm going to go Cheslin Colby on the right wing, and Thomas Ramos at 15.
Ramos at 15.
Yeah, I think he's quality.
But like his goal kicking.
I think he's quality.
But he's the most
High ball
attacking-minded.
skills
Yeah.
and his ability to run. I just think he's on fire at the minute.
Anything
I
to add
like
to that, Ukes?
No, I agree with Ramos. I think this year the two best 15s on the planet have been Hugo Keenan and Thomas Ramos.
Hugo Keenan.
Yeah,
Yeah, quality.
exceptional, just
Quality.
exceptional players. The left wing,
Reece Zammit.
no. I
Got a Welsh bias coming.
No,
Mac
no, no.
Hansen.
Well, he's someone I'd absolutely throw into the mix.
You haven't got a New Zealand winger in there.
This is
Will
unfair.
Jordan, what a player.
Will
Will
Jordan's
Jordan.
like 27 tests, 24 tries or something. It's insane. But
Any of the top teams, you just got to go right. You could pick the whole.
Yeah.
You could take the French back
not
three.
easy.
You could take the Irish back three.
it's aesthetics.
Take the Scottish back three. You could do everything, mate.
Because it's not just about qualities. Like, how do you want them to play? Like, Doohan is as devastating
balance.
as Cheslin is, or a Will Jordan, or a Mac Hansen. I love Mac Hansen as a personality. What a wonderful rugby player as well. So I'm going Thomas Ramos.
Pinto. Jim Hamilton's favourite from Portugal.
The Portuguese flyer. No, Pinto's not there.
Classic Jim, that.
Leggy, what are you saying? You,
I'm thinking of Boffelli.
oh.
It's not because
Wonder
he's
why.
Argentinian, but
No, he's good.
He's good.
Was he
He's
playing
very
last
good.
night?
Yeah.
no,
It's just I didn't see him.
no.
For 70 minutes. you might
That
have
is
seen
so. England get a good win, and you're all back on.
Hey,
You're World Cup,
Unbearable.
you're World Cup winners again, aren't you?
do you know what's brilliant?
Bloody hell.
As I was leaving the stadium last night, there was a load of England fans cheering, "It's coming!"
Oh no, not already.
Obviously joking.
Mate, the
They're
amount,
not
England
joking.
the amount of England fans I saw on the port yesterday, they're asking me, going, "What's your predictions?" I'm saying England are going to be fine, and they're going, "Nah, not a chance." Like, but they're not feeling.
Yeah,
they're so
true.
down.
So
the
true.
complete opposite to what you think the normal English are like. And then Nick Minute is coming home.
But you know what?
It's coming home.
You make
really.
such a good point, because the fans we had in the stadium yesterday were. There's not a proper fan and there's not a non-proper fan,
Yeah.
but they were so loud, so rowdy. If the fans, the tens of thousands England fans, were at Twickenham every single week, we wouldn't lose a game at Twickenham.
Yeah.
We're silent at home. I think this England team actually flourished from
And
playing away.
And why do you think he
Away from the
he say
limelight,
that?
Huh? Just because, I don't know, there's a...
I always feel
Actually,
sorry for
I
England.
don't want to...
I genuinely do. The amount of pressure that's heaped on England is incredible.
Yeah.
It is incredible.
And
And I
media
genuinely feel
attention.
sorry for them at times. I do.
Media attention, coverage, but playing away from home in a neutral environment with a load of fans that a lot of them would have saved up for 4 years,
Yeah.
who have been at the ports, who've been on the train, who have been in the pubs, been in the fan zones. And the minute Tom Curry got sent off at 2.5 minutes, their volume rose. At Twickenham, if Tom Curry gets sent off 2.5 minutes, silent.
They start
They're
living.
back in the corporate boxes, mate.
Any positives have been sent off in a rugby game, Stu?
What have I done to you today?
Yeah, why are you so
Yeah.
aggro?
Hoggy
It's
told
'cause
me.
you-
Oh,
Hoggy
I know
told
what
me.
it is, but we
Yeah.
can't say it. We can't say it on air, can we?
Hoggy was saying to me when he got sent off in that game against Wales back in the day, that you had more followers on Twitter, didn't you?
Yeah, I got genuine. I've not got a heap of followers on Twitter, but the old hit the 30k that day, didn't it?
Got 30k as well as the blue tick. Is that nailed
Yeah,
it?
They were all
Junior, I
Welsh.
think that was the time I did get the blue. Not that specific moment, but get the old blue tick, and I think you made it. Red card, not from 5 of the 6 nations, beat by 50 points. Hit 30k on Twitter, though, didn't we?
Trending on Twitter alongside Donald Trump.
There'd be a few Argentinians maybe following Tom Curry, thanking him this morning, maybe. We're about to do our Campo 15, put it together with all our guests throughout the podcast, which we'll get to in a second. It is the Japanese word for cheers. We'll get to that in a sec. Hoggy, just before we finish, World Cup, you did 2. Any funny stories, any memories, any sort of bizarre moments along the way in any of the camps that you can repeat on this show?
Thanks for the heads up on that, Geth.
Hey, sorry, firstly, can we get your iPad out, please?
Why?
No, I just want to see it.
That's a good point. Did you not write this down because you're super prepared?
Mate, can you give
I
us your
like to
iPad?
be prepared,
Hey,
lads,
Hoggy,
all right?
We were
Hoggy, can you
super
give us your
impressed.
iPad?
We were super impressed by this.
Can you give us
Stuart,
It's in my bag.
Stuart
No,
turned up
it's not.
today with an iPad, the tablet, with all his information and prep on it, and he's not
And
used it once.
quotes.
You got
Hey,
quotes?
hey.
Have you got quotes?
Oh, mate.
Can
Go
you
on,
unlock
give us
it?
some quotes.
Can we unlock
Inspire
Can I
us.
just read some of this?
No, mate, no, because...
No, come on.
No,
No,
no.
Hoggy.
Right, go on then. Look at the team sheet and everything, mate.
Okay, we've got
What's
the
he
team
got,
sheet.
Ian?
Outstanding. Scotland are underdogs, but we're here to win it.
That's a quote.
Quote from Gregor Townsend?
Yeah.
Okay. It's the biggest opportunity. South Africa. Notes on South Africa. Thoughts. Discipline key for both sides. Cheap field position and strike plays the strength of both. Fair play. Kicking game, not overplayed.
Just everything we've talked about in the pod, to be fair.
Interesting matchups. Graham versus Colby. Russell versus Libok. The front rows. Ritchie versus Khaleesi. And the benches. This is... I'll tell you what.
Is that right, isn't it?
Oh, it's excellent.
Excellent work, Stu.
Look, we should applaud. Why are you bullying him? You should be applauding that, encouraging that.
You know, I'm a
You
massive
should have
fan of
started
prep.
this.
Oh, well.
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just everything we've talked about, lads. No biggie.
You've got a World Cup
You're
story.
welcome.
Is
You're
there
welcome.
is there a World Cup story in there?
You're welcome. No.
Okay, good.
I'm jelly. Hey, Scotland camp, mate. We didn't do very well, so it's a depressing place to be at times.
Leggy and Hoggy, your Campai 15. So we're trying to create a Campai 15. So it is the Japanese word for cheers. And the idea is that you pick a rugby player that maybe you faced or maybe haven't and would have liked to have played against. Maybe they were really hard players. Maybe they were great players. Maybe you love these players. I don't know. It could be anything like that. But then you would have enjoyed a beer with them after. Maybe an Asahi Super Dry after the game with them. So that one player, brilliant bloke, who would that be? And we can add them to the Campo 15. Ugo, you've done yours.
Yeah.
Okay, was it?
I picked Brian Habana.
Habana, you
Joe Rokothoko picked Drew Mitchell.
Or Shane Williams.
I pick my friend Ugo Monye.
Oh my goodness, you're going to make it into a World 15, this Rugby World Cup. This is amazing.
Not again.
Why? Because of his great fun, good looks, great rugby playing achievements, his amazing
All those
outfit for
things
the
together.
first game, or the way he smells, which...
Yeah, how have we gone the last hour without talking about that outfit, by the way?
You've had some outfits already this World Cup. What was the double-breasted,
a tech-
three-quarter length jacket with, what was it, a little cravat? What would you call
Cravat,
it?
yeah.
You can pull it off, man.
I
I'm just jealous.
messaged him yesterday, said I thought you looked sharp, mate. And he was like, a divided opinion.
It did divide opinion. Do you know what's crazy is, on a semi-serious note, you have so many fans, people who comment on rugby, and the one thing they always want every player to be is themselves, and then you be yourselves and they're like, oh, can't do that. What? They're like, what's with that? I'm like, sorry, I forgot my burgundy chinos and club blazer.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate. I didn't get the flipping traditional English dress code to go to the rugby. What's actually funny is I was sat with someone at the game and I said, Prince Albert sat behind us. And they went, who's that? And I went, oh, I said, where is he? I went, oh, he's the lad in the blue blazer. Turn around. Every single lad, blue blazer.
yeah.
Do you mean you wear something different? It's like, oh gosh, conform to rugby.
Mate, I love your style. Generally, I
It is,
do.
it
Do you
is
mean?
black.
It's
It
great.
is
You
sharp.
always look sharp.
Oh, mate, whether I look sharp or not,
Trendsetter.
I'm happy with what I wear.
And let Leggy's put you in the Campo 15. How do you feel about that? Cheers.
It's an honour. Kanpai.
Campaign.
Who's joining Ugo, Stuart?
Oh,
Great
So-
rugby player.
tell you what, there's some good people
Great
in
bloke.
that team already.
Someone from this World Cup.
Someone from this World Cup.
Anyone you want.
Oh.
Ever. Anytime.
Holy hicka.
Is it Rory Lawson's uncle?
Who am I going for? Who would I love to have a beer with?
Who surprised you along the way when you've toured? And you know, like sometimes you swap a shirt. You'd have seen Jalabert with Bowden Barrett, who swapped the whole kit, actually. I
Yeah.
mean, that must be quite awkward when you take the shorts off.
I,
you know, I always
yeah,
wondered that.
I'd go Geordie Barrett, actually.
Oh.
I like him a lot.
Out of the three brothers, he's your favourite.
Yeah, we swapped jerseys after the game last autumn. And I was like, he's a proper good bloke. I loved him a lot. So I'm going to say Geordie Barrett.
Good player.
Great player.
Best position.
Great player. I don't know. Normally you say, oh, he's a 15 or he's a 12, or what is his position?
Yeah.
What is his position is a bloody good thing when it comes to him.
Yeah.
Is he
I like
injured
him
now?
at 12.
Yeah, I think he's only out for a game, I think, is he?
Yeah.
I like him at 12. I think he's more involved when he's at 12.
Tell you what, Mac Hansen would be good in a Campo 15. I'd like to share a beer with him.
He'd probably shave his head and put Ugo on the back of it, something
how
like that,
good
would he?
would
Like
that
Keith
be?
Hill style.
Yeah.
What's he's green hair at the minute, isn't it?
He went green hair
Green
for
for
Keith
Keith
Hill's
Hill's
100th
100th.
cap.
That's
K into the side of his lid, which was slightly wasted because he wears a scrum cap.
Yeah, good
But the
point.
sentiment was there. I loved it.
That's quality.
We can have a decent side at the end, don't
That's
we?
a proper edgy bloke. I like
Yeah, in
that.
fact, we need to actually make a graphic of all the
What should come to life?
people selected.
Gents, before we end, anything to add?
What
Any
a
other
day.
business?
Predictions.
Oh, let's
Juan.
do a prediction. See if it bodes well for Stuart. Go on then, give us some predictions for today.
Tight game. I would say
Which one are we talking about? Japan, Chile. Go on.
Japan, Chile. Japan by 7.
Scotland
Japan by
against
40.
South Africa.
14?
Oh, do you want to do it that way? Go on then.
40.
Japan by 40.
Stu.
Japan by 35.
Scotland, South Africa. Leggy.
Mate, you're double my size. You can do what the hell you want.
South Africa by 7.
Oh,
by
close
6.
then.
By 6.
By 6.
Let me
Yeah,
change
it's
his
a
mind
difference,
real quick.
man. It's 1 point.
South Africa by 14.
Scotland by 4.
You said already. Yeah.
Scotland by 4.
Heart or head?
Both. I generally think we're going to play an exciting brand of rugby that we're going to. Mate, I'm feeling it.
Be ready for it, won't they? That's for
Feeling
sure.
it.
God, I'm looking forward to that.
What happened if I win, for example?
We
Silence
invite you back
rugby.
to Philip Saint-André's house
Okay.
here, and we give you an Asahi.
Okay.
Okay.
Wales,
And then
Fiji.
Wales, Fiji.
Well, Fiji. What do you think?
As a Welshman, I'm quite nervous.
Confident? Nervous. Which is not confident.
Nervous.
Okay.
Is that because of the way that Wales have been playing or the way that Fiji have been playing?
Yeah, the latter, I
both.
think. Yeah, just because Fiji, or Ugo was saying this last week, like Fiji now have a structure to the game as well as the ability to play like they do. Them, some say best rugby player nation there is. Right?
Yeah,
I
the
say-
things which used to be a
hands down.
weakness
Wales,
aren't a weakness.
Wales by 5.
Thank you, Leggy.
No,
You're always
pleasure.
welcome.
Pleasure.
Wales by 2.
I'm with Juan. Wales by 5.
Why do you all say Wales will win it?
I think Munster, the Fijian 10 as a loss is so big. Kept the scoreboard ticking over against England, his ability to control field position. I know that's not that. It's not everything, but Fiji have the ability, individual ability, just go bang, bang, gone. You stood there under the post going, how did that happen? But Gats,
That was their bench, by the way.
yeah, it's a joke. But Gats at World Cups, like it just can't be. England haven't been great this summer, but England's record at World Cups is excellent, and it showed yesterday. Wales at World Cups, very good. They know how to get it done. A lot of the players, they don't actually know how to get it done because they've never been at a World Cup. But Gats does, and that just counts for a huge
I agree
amount.
with that last part. Yeah. I think Wales knows how to manage the game, have the tools to get through. So, yeah. Plus, coach. It's going to be a good game for Wales, I think.
I don't think we've seen Wales anywhere near where they want to be. So I think they'll have a rocket up the backside of late. And I think this game's massive for them in terms of how they kick on in the tournament and if we'll see the best Welsh side. I really hope they do.
Gents, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much, Stu. Thanks, Leggy. As always, Ugo.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Geff.
Good luck today, Hoggy. Don't be too nervous.
Mate, you were nervous about Wales 2 minutes ago. Now we've predicted Welsh wins. You're all happy.
Yeah, look how smug he
Yeah,
is.
he's smuggy now, aren't you?
Difference is I haven't got 100 caps for my
Yeah,
country.
as,
so it's
as a
different colours.
Welshman, I'm really, really nervous about today's game. Then next minute you're saying
That's all right. I'm 100% behind him, but just a little bit nervous.
2
You
minutes
touched on
ago
it.
you weren't.
Will you be a good spectator
No.
today? Will you be a nightmare?
Absolute
Will you
nightmare,
be
yeah.
up and down?
I feel sorry
Wow.
for Grace. I feel sorry for Grace, my agent, because she's going to have to sit beside me today. And yeah, I am absolutely horrific.
You brought your agent with you. You've,
Why is that,
big time,
Stuart?
Hugo. Big time's brought an agent with
Do you
you.
know what?
That's,
We're at the same
he's
agency.
changed.
We're at the
It's-
same
it's-
agency.
it's-
Grace didn't come out for me.
Wow.
That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
Leggy, you brought your agent with you?
I'm joking. She's like, this is on camera. You go. I'm not allowing it.
cut that last part out. please.
Leggy's brought an entourage.
Yeah.
Manager, makeup, the whole lot.
No.
I mean, that's the difference, okay? Hoggy brings his own agent. Leggy has to bring his own tea.
Yes.
That is sick, though. That is quality. I
So
love
nice. I'm buying one. You sent me-
Yes.
Leggy, Stuart, Hugo, thank you so much. You've been listening to the official Rugby World Cup podcast brought to you by the official beer of the World Cup, Asahi Super Dry. We will see you very soon. Don't forget to leave a comment at the bottom of this link.